591.
With the power of Tandem HR, you are in the fast lane on Main Street with Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business and jobs. Now, the champion of networking, the advocate of jobs, the guru of business, your host, Shalom Klein.
Frank Lloyd Wright once said, "The thing always happens that you really believe in, and the belief in a thing makes it happen." We are all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And business, we talk a lot about business here. You're on with Get Down to Business, and I'm your host, Shalom Klein. Remember, you can always download podcasts from Get Down to Business on my website at shalomklein.com. And while you are there, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Shalom Klein. It's going to be a jam-packed week of content and information you won't want to miss. It's a live show, and this week it's all about innovation. And this week we'll be joined by guests Mike Maddock, Simona Citron, and Scott Gindel, along with the new Playmakers Spotlight. And I'll be sharing tips on leveraging Twitter and social media for business. It's a live show. You can call us at 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600. Again, this week it's all about innovation. Call in, ask us your questions, give us your advice, and tell us what works for you. But talking about innovation, we're going to be talking with Mr. Innovation himself. I've got Mike Maddock of Maddock Douglas on the line with me. Mike, welcome to Get Down to Business.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, Mike. So thanks for joining us. So your life purpose is to inspire and empower curiosity. Why is that?
You know, Simon Sinek is a friend of mine, and he wrote a book called Start With Why. It's a great TED Talk. And he made the point that good businesses have a what, great businesses have a how. They have a process for delivering new products or services. But the greatest leaders and the greatest businesses have a why, a purpose. And so I looked back on being in business for a long time, and I noticed that everything that I've done has something to do with inspiration or empowerment. And what I've found is that people that know how to change the world have found a way to have some kind of big idea, or people that believe in something really big, and then they're really good at finding and repeating processes that allow them to bring an idea to market again and again. So,
wow.
So inspiration and empowerment is why I show up.
That's fantastic, and I know you're inspiring, empowering a lot of great entrepreneurs on your website. It says that you empower curiosity within companies and make even our most traditional clients perform like entrepreneurs. That's exciting. So let's back up a second. Tell us about your journey as a business owner and an entrepreneur yourself.
Well, I was fortunate, Shalom, to have to work for a number of entrepreneurs. I started working as a kid, probably about 14. Worked at a furniture store that was owned by a family. I worked at a packaging company owned by a family, a clothing company owned by a family. And I saw people that really, I learned how to work hard. And I also had a kind of a rich dad, poor dad experience where I worked for some really good entrepreneurs and then some not so good. So, I was born with a chip. I wanted to start things, and at about 25, I started Maddock Douglas. And our tagline should have been, "Sure, we can do that, too." It was a marketing communications firm. We just took on any kind of business that we could get. Our first client was Superior Coffee and Foods, which turned into Sara Lee Coffee and Foods. Then we started working with Central DePage Hospital, and on and on and on. And about 15 years ago, we got a chance to work with Procter & Gamble on new product development, and I got the new product bug, and we just decided that that's what we were going to be when we grew up. So we acquired a couple companies, and since that time, we've been fortunate to work with about 25% of the Fortune 100, and we help them find a new need in the market and create a new product or a service or business model to meet that need. So,
what have you found are some of the secret ingredients for innovation that might take some of our business owner listeners by surprise?
Well, the first thing is you got to know what innovation is. Most entrepreneurs are really good inventors, and there's a difference. Innovation starts with a big need and insight, and then you go to an idea. Invention is coming up with an idea and then going looking for someone that needs it. So, you can be a very successful inventor as a small business person, but as you get bigger and there are more jobs at stake and, there are shareholders, you have to have a process. And then it's all about coming up with insights. That's number one. Number two, if you look, think about all your friends that own businesses. The most successful businesses have what I call at the head an idea monkey and a ringleader, someone who's about inspiration and ideas, and someone who's about strategy and execution. And finding the balance between those two personalities in a business is really tough, and it causes a lot of tension, a lot of fighting. So companies that have learned to respect each other and love that tension, and then empower it with the right kinds of process and people, win consistently.
We are discussing innovation with Mike Maddock of Maddock Douglas. So what are some of the biggest challenges that get in the way of innovation?
I think that when, as a leader, you say we're going to change, we're going to innovate, you scare the snot out of people. I mean, you hire people that are experts at doing certain things, and then you tell them that everything's going to change tomorrow, and that's exactly what you didn't hire them to do. You hired them to keep you out of trouble and to mitigate risk.
So speaking of hiring, as a leader, you run a business. What are your tips for our listeners? How do you empower your team to do more creative work?
So I first, the balance team. I'm a big believer in the Colby, different hiring teams that are balanced, hiring people that we understand what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, and putting them in positions where they can do that. And then, I hate process, which means that I need a lot of it. And so having processes in place that are proven and saying, look, we can optimize this process, but so far this has worked, so let's try to make this process work better.
And that's why you have a good team behind you.
That's right. Exactly.
So you're very passionate. What life experiences have made you so passionate about, quite frankly, changing the world?
I've just been in the room so many times when someone has had that panacea moment, and you can tell they've been fighting for an idea for a long time, and that moment, that wow, I've got it, that treasure moment. It just feels the same, whether you're 8 years old or 88 years old, and I love it, and I think we all deserve to have it. And so, I love being in large corporations at the C level and helping them to be agile like entrepreneurs, and I love being in smaller companies and helping them use some of the discipline that these big companies are so good at. So, I just love being at the center of people that believe they can change the world and giving them the tools to do it.
And you're doing it, changing the world one company at a time. So we're slowly running out of time. Your next book is about manufacturing serendipity, or more simply stated, creating your own luck. Can you tell us more about that idea?
Yeah, I'm working on as a kid, I used to point at people with fancy cars and big houses and go, man, that guy's lucky. They must be so lucky. But then I noticed that Shalom, have you noticed the same people are lucky over and over?
I know. There's something there.
I think that they have. So I've noticed that some people have come up with the ability to almost manufacture serendipity. So my next book's called Beginner's Luck, and what I'm doing is I'm interviewing people, serial entrepreneurs that have been lucky again and again and again, and each chapter is going to be about something that these people share in common, whether they know it or not. So think about the 12 ways to manufacture serendipity again and again, and some of them are going to surprise you. I'll give you one. I've noticed that successful people are strategically selfish. John Kerry broke his femur.
I saw that.
Yeah, well, John Kerry takes care of himself. And what I've noticed is that really successful people, it's kind of like first me, then me, then me, then me, then my family, then my business. They know that if they're not taking care of themselves first, they can't take care of anyone else. So you might read it as being, well, they're selfish, but they're not. They're being strategic about taking care of themselves so that they can take care of everyone else. And successful people tend to do that pretty consistently.
Well, I'm excited to see the book and read that magic formula or that recipe. So when will your new book be released, Mike, and where can we go to learn more about it as well as contact you?
Well, so the website is maddockdouglas.com. My Twitter handle is at the Idea Monkey, and my phone number is 630-563-6454. The book will be out early next year, but I'm writing in Forbes, so if you want to get a peek of what I'm interested in, you can just check out my column on Forbes.
And again, get on Mike Maddock's website, maddockdouglas.com. That's where you can find out, I'm sure, more information when the book is released about manufacturing serendipity or creating your own luck. Really great advice. What an honor to have you on the show. Mike, we've been working on this for a little while. I'm thrilled that we had you, and we'll be sure to have you back on to talk about more of those tips, advice, and information from your new book. Mike, until then, have a successful week, and we'll talk to you real soon.
The honor's mine, Shalom. Thank you.
Fantastic. Get Down to Business is powered by Tandem HR, your solution center. You can find them at tandemhr.com or call 630-928-0510. That phone number again is 630-928-0510. You can also email them, simplify@tandemhr.com. Coming up, we're going to check in with executive business coach and award-winning Vistage chair, Dick Smith. Once again, you're listening to the show that's all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Don't touch that dial. At the end of the show, I'm going to be sharing some tips about social media and how to leverage Twitter. It's a live show. You can call us 312-642-5600. You're listening to Get Down to Business.